Cardio. Which form of cardio is optimal for fat loss? Now you might be asking, why are we in the kitchen for a video about cardio? But I want to stress the point that if your nutrition is not where it should be every single day, you will not see any results. So without further ado, let's move on examining the different types of cardio and which one is optimal. Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. My name is Nicolas Franz-Koltren, and today we're going to be looking at cardio. Which cardio is optimal for fat loss? So let's begin this by breaking down what cardio really means. Essentially, all that cardio is what target heart rate you're in and for how long. Now, there are infinite ways, frankly, for someone to elevate his heart rate, and that ranges from the treadmill to the bike to, well, the bedroom. It doesn't really matter how you raise your heart rate as long as you make sure you're in your target heart rate zone for that particular exercise that you are performing. Now, something I want to stress here is the importance of a heart rate monitor. I'm wearing one here, just a Fitbit. You can find them quite cheap nowadays anywhere on the internet. And I would say this is not essential by any means, but it definitely guarantees you know which heart rate you're in for the particular exercise you're performing. And this is quite important. So without further ado, let's break down the main types of cardio one can be performing for optimizing fat loss. Okay, let's start with high intensity interval training cardio, abbreviated to HIIT. This form of cardio is a personal favorite of mine, and it can be completed in a very short amount of time. Anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes really is a sweet spot for this. So how does one perform high intensity interval training? It's very easy. All you need is a timer. The main thing you have to figure out with your HIIT sessions is how much you work out for compared to how much you rest. 50-50 being a great starting point, I would say, for the average individual, that is working out for 20 seconds, for example, and resting for 20 more seconds. A very famous protocol I would recommend you doing, and what I personally do, is called Tabata, which means training for 20 seconds and resting for 10. You repeat this for 4 overall minutes, which is considered one cycle. Whichever rest period you choose totally depend on your current cardiovascular fitness level, and it doesn't really matter as long as you're pushing yourself really, really hard and reaching those spikes in your heart rate for the period while you're training. We want to be aiming ideally for 90% of your maximum heart rate or above. Now, assuming a cycle lasts anywhere from 3 to 6 minutes, depending on which rest intervals and workout intervals you choose, I would recommend doing anywhere from 2 to 4 cycles overall in a session. Definitely no more than 5, because then it's diminishing returns. You really start feeling burnt out and you will start breaking down your hard-earned muscle, and we don't want this. Now, break in between cycles. Most definitely allow your heart rate to fall down below to normal, where you can easily maintain a conversation with someone and you're not out of breath. And as long as you're back down there, you can start again. The main pro of this type of cardio is because of how intense it is, you can burn quite a significant amount of calories in a very short amount of time. Now, the main drawback with this type of training is that it is very taxing on the body and it will affect your recovery from the weight sessions. So for this reason in particular, I would not recommend doing it more than 2 or 3 times maximum per week. Now, another very important benefit of high intensity interval training is that it improves your overall cardiovascular health and raises your VO2 max. What is VO2 max? Well, basically has to do with how you consume oxygen during exercise. And to break this down in plain English, basically means how fit one is. So assuming you're on point with your high intensity interval trainings, you will definitely see improvements in your cardiovascular health and ability as well. Meaning, frankly, you won't be gassed after running, 400 meters or climbing a pair of stairs like we see it's the case with most bodybuilders at the moment. Nothing wrong with that, but I definitely think, we should be paying attention to our cardiovascular health as well. And sadly enough, it has become a common issue among weightlifters all over the world, that since one is lifting weights, somehow it's the norm for him to be ignoring his cardio whatsoever. I totally disagree with that. Now, something I want to clarify about high-intensity interval training is this thing called EPOC. I'm sure you've seen it on the internet. What it basically means is that your body keeps burning calories and fat throughout the day after you're done. Now, I want to declassify this as a myth because even though, yes, it is true, it has been hyped up extremely from misinformation all over the internet. And even though it does happen, the net calorie benefit, we're talking anywhere from 40 to 70 calories. This is nothing. So by no means don't think that because you're doing high intensity interval training, you're burning calories throughout the day. This is simply not the case. All we're trying to do is burn the most amount of calories possible in the session. Okay, on the opposite end of the spectrum now, we have slow, steady pace cardio. This form of cardio, its main benefit is that it is very sustainable. By far the most sustainable form of cardio one could be doing, and also something I want to add, it is very easy to track. Make sure you watch my other video, the one I have linked down below, that I'm going into detail breaking down the process of leaning down for a photo shoot or for whatever reason, and I go into detail there explaining why and how you should be weighing every single week. The ways you can achieve this form of cardio vary. What I would suggest, the most easily accessible to everyone, is brisk walking on an incline. That can be performed from a treadmill in the gym, or if you don't have access to the gym, it can be a very, very mild jog or even fast walking. Something I want you to research is the fat burning zone. There's multiple calculators online to calculate your fat burning zone. I will link one down below in the description. But essentially it means you want to be between 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. Don't stress too much about those numbers because there is no black and white and they're quite dated equations anyway. But as long as you're on the ballpark of this heart rate, it will ensure you're on the heart rate that will burn the most amount of fat possible. Now, a clarification I want to make here, even though that on these slow heart rate zones, the body utilizes the most amount of fat, that doesn't mean that they're superior to, let's say, high intensity interval training, which you mostly utilize carbs, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to calorie expenditure. So all that cardio should be in your program is a tool to maximize your calorie expenditure. It doesn't matter how you achieve that, as long as you make sure every single day you've ticked the box of you being in a negative energy balance. Okay, and now moving on to the final type of cardio, the one that's most controversial for weightlifters at least, and for people who train for aesthetics. This is what is mainly called as the original cardio. The best example of this form of cardio is jogging. Now, everyone pretty much in the fitness community has been bashing jogging for quite some time now, with the main reason that basically it combines the worst of both worlds. It doesn't utilizes the energy from fat as you would do with low steady pace, and it doesn't give you the benefits of high intensity interval training. Now, I tend to disagree with that. Jogging, for example, has been used consistently throughout the years as a great conditioning tool by multiple athletes, even world-class ones. So, quite frankly, if it worked for them, it will most definitely work for you and me. Something I want to stress in terms of this form of cardio as well is it's by far what releases the most endorphins. What endorphins are? It's basically our natural antidepressant, so to speak. So when you get in the zone jogging, you honestly feel amazing, guys. I would urge you to give this a go if you haven't. But you need to make sure you're in the correct zone, which brings me to the point I want to raise about which sort of target heart rate you should be when you're doing this form of training. Now, this can go quite deep with lots of details that are way beyond the scope of this video, but I will link a link down below that links to something called the MAF, math calculator. It was basically a doctor that calculated an excellent zone for those who train for triathlons and endurance events. This is quite a low heart rate for you to maintain for a prolonged amount of time, which for us weightlifters, I would definitely recommend not to be exceeding 90 minutes on the absolute max, ideally 60 minutes, because then, yes, diminishing returns are real. You will start breaking down your muscle. So definitely check the MAF training and make sure you're in that zone, and I guarantee you will absolutely love this. And also, it is quite sustainable as well. I would definitely recommend doing it anywhere from 1 to 3 times per week, easily. Now, something I want to raise here in regards to the jogging is if you're quite overweight, I would stick away from this because it is quite taxing on the knees. Also, when you're running, make sure you have quite a new pair of training shoes because the knees absorb all this shock and it can definitely pile up and lead to knee injuries, which we really don't want to. Now, if you're an individual that is really lacking on time and you frankly don't have any time for cardio whatsoever, there is a fourth type of cardio, so to speak, that would be doing your cardio through your weight sessions. Now, what this essentially means is that in your weight sessions, you significantly speed up your resting periods, ranging from anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds, and that will ensure that your heart rate stays elevated throughout your training, and as well as the benefits from the weight sessions, you also got some serious calorie burning from there. Now, with all these cardio sessions, a point I want to raise, timing. Does it matter when you do it? Well, yes and no. What do I mean by that? What we do essentially here is weightlifting. Weightlifting will always be the staple of our workout because we're training for aesthetics. We want to build muscle and maximize and retain as much muscle as we can when we're cutting. So assuming your weight training doesn't suffer because of the cardio, it doesn't really matter when you do your cardio. But having said this, I would definitely recommend try and do it after your weights, unless you have some serious time to recover. Let's say you do cardio in the morning and then you do weight training in the evening. Now, another point I want to stress here is the point of fasted cardio. I'm pretty sure you must have heard about this. It's been going on everywhere around the internet. My point is, I've done some serious research on the matter, and there seems to be a debate as to whether you do get benefits while training fasted or not. So I will say if it works for you, give it a go. I'm doing it every now and then, and I do have results. So give this a go if it is for you and see and judge accordingly. So a point I want to raise here is that if you're planning on training fasted, definitely consume some branched-chain amino acids known as BCAAs because studies have shown that this will minimize muscle wastage. Okay guys, so to recap all this, which cardio is better for fat loss? Short answer, none. They're all the same. All cardio is a tool to help you burn the most amount of calories in a day. Having said this, for all of us who are mainly weightlifting, it would make sense for you to choose the most sustainable form of cardio and the one that's the easiest to recover from and doesn't affect your weight sessions. Therefore, I would definitely recommend a minimum of 3 times per week on the low steady pace cardio, and depending on how much weight you've lost that week, you can easily add 1 or 2 sessions of high intensity interval or jogging as I'm doing now. That's it, don't make it hard because it's not. Now guys, if you're struggling getting really lean, I can definitely help you. Me and my team here at coltlabs.com offer bespoke programs. So make sure you check us out and we can do this together. Okay, and that was everything about cardio, guys. Don't overcomplicate things, you don't have to. So back in the kitchen now, as you see, the chicken is ready. This is a staple plate of mine, just some protein and vegetables here, no need for carbs because I cannot afford any more for this particular meal. I'm maxed out on the day, which brings me back to the point that if your nutrition is not where it should be, forget about seeing results from cardio or from training. That's all for today. I will be making a very detailed video talking nutrition with you, so make sure to subscribe and stay up to date with that. Now, if you excuse me, I'm about to enjoy this. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and catch you all in the next video.